In this video series, I'm talking about influencers, not the Instagram celebrity type, but the men and women that God has used to influence me on my faith journey. Travel back in time with me to the fall of 1994. I'm a freshman at the University of Connecticut, moving into my dorm room in Buckley, 4 South. I drop my stuff off and I go around, and as I'm looking at the names and the doors, I begin to wonder, where am I? My roommate's name is Pericles. My next door neighbors on one side, Diego and Andre. On the other side, Mantis and Rob. Down the hall are Crease and Chigger. And as I walk around, it seems like the names are getting progressively weirder and weirder. I begin to wonder, am I on the foreign language floor? Well, eventually I met the guys on the floor, and they told me that everyone on the floor had a nickname, and they asked me what my nickname was. I told them, well, some people called me Stilly in high school. They shook their heads, and Rod looked at me, and he said, how about Beowulf? And so my freshman year, I became known as Beowulf to the young men of Buckley 4 South, because naturally I look like an Anglo-Saxon warrior. And on those weekend evenings when they got really drunk and really loud, they would go up and down the halls yelling at the top of their lungs, Beowulf, while I cowered anxiously in my dorm room. Thankfully, the second week of my time at UConn, I stumbled across a group called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. I was pretty new to this kind of group. I had only given my life to Jesus the week earlier. But as I began to meet people in the group, I was relieved to find that many of them also lived in Buckley. I was relieved to know that I wasn't going to have to spend my weekend evenings cowering anxiously in my dorm room while people yelled Beowulf at the top of their lungs. Sure enough, I wound up spending many of my evenings in the rooms of these new friends, John and Steve, Chris and Doug, John and Scott. We played hearts, we talked about UConn basketball, we listened to music, and I learned a lot about God. Most importantly, I learned an important lesson about community. See, the Christian faith was not meant to be lived in isolation. Our experience of God is so much greater when we share our lives with others. During my time in InterVarsity, I was fortunate to have many good friends, Jen and Chris, Matt and Nate, Amy and Christy, guys that I still call brothers and sisters to this day. I was fortunate to learn firsthand what Paul wrote in 1 Thessalonians 2:8. We loved you so much that we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well, because you had become so dear to us. Those early days of my Christian faith taught me the importance of community, how important it is to have people that you can encourage and challenge, and people who encourage and challenge you. Can I encourage and challenge you? Get involved in a community of faith. Not only that, make sure you get involved in the lives of people to the extent where they know you, not just by name, but your fears, your anxieties, your weaknesses, and your struggles. People who can pray for you and lift you up when you're down, remind you of who God is and what He says about you. Life is hard and often lonely, and community is such an integral part of what it means to know and follow Jesus. Take it from Beowulf. Don't go through life alone. Share it with others.